Hello and welcome to the Purpose Pursuit podcast with me, Hannah Miller, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Laura McClellan.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Do you like my outfit?
It's absolutely magnificent.
Thank you.
Do you want to explain your look today?
Maybe it would be a good idea. It's our first recording since Christmas. Now, there are a couple of episodes that will have gone out already that we pre-recorded, but this is Laura and I's first recording day since the Christmas period. And so we are sharing our Christmas presents.
Yes, we are.
Now, this on my back, should we start there?
Yeah, for anyone listening.
For anyone listening, not watching, I've got a Highland cow on my back with its arms over my shoulders, which are kind of heavy weighted on.
Yeah, it's a weighted teddy.
It looks a little bit from the front if you're not looking like I've got a big furry coat scarf thing on, but it is actually teddy. This was a gift from my children. It's a
Hallie,
weighted
the Highland cow.
Hallie, the Highland cow. It says that on the label, and it's a weighted teddy that you can just have on you when you just feel like I think they clearly feel I'm highly strung. So they just one day put this over my shoulders at Christmas and said, here's your present. And also you can have it this way.
Yeah, like a hug.
Like a hug.
It's lovely. And for anyone who knows Hannah, Highland cows are one of your favourite animals.
Second favourite
after cockapoos.
After dogs.
Yeah.
In general. Dogs
in
in
general.
general. Second favourite. So you can wear it this way around. You do get hair in your mouth if you do it this way around, but you do feel like you're having a lovely
It's
little
really
cuddle.
sweet.
So it's a new member of the team.
Yeah, Hallie.
And another Hannah is a new member of the team.
Yeah, my sister.
Laura's sister is going to be working with us on Mondays. We only employ people who are related to Laura. That's basically a rule.
Absolutely. My mum's next.
Yeah, your mum's next. Don't even joke. So I don't know whether to wear Hallie for the whole episode or whether it's off-putting. I am also wearing a hat.
You're also wearing a hat.
Which is my Christmas present from Laura. Thank you,
Which
Laura.
sounds a bit boring when you say it like this,
Oh,
but
no.
there is context behind it.
Massive context behind it.
Because
you were embarrassed of me?
Well, a little bit. If you've been following Hannah for a while as well, I think it might have been last winter, you went out the house on your daily dog walk.
Yes.
And it was absolutely freezing.
And I'd washed my hair.
You'd washed your hair, and you usually go to sleep in a silk bonnet, don't you?
I wear a silk bonnet. Because, just for context, my hair's actually curly.
Yes. Really curly.
And so it has the texture of curly hair, which is essentially frizz.
Yeah, so you like to protect it overnight.
I do.
But you decided to just go out the house with a silk bonnet with all your hair inside, and then you just put a hat on the top.
I did, which made me look really unhinged, a bit like I do now.
Because at the back of your hat was just a massive
big silky pouch
of silk.
I did look really quite embarrassing.
So that's basically haunted me.
It would have been mortifying to actually bump into somebody.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't. But that's haunted. Well, you then did put it on Instagram.
I did.
So you essentially
outed myself. I did.
But yeah, so I've been thinking about it all year long. So this is a hat that has the silky bit inside of it.
It does. If I just take it off, I'm going to ruin my hair now. Inside, for those of you watching on YouTube, it's silky. So it's like a silk bonnet inside a hat. It's by a company called Only Curls. Only Curls.
Yeah, so I got you that, which I thought was quite sweet.
I'm just thinking, should I keep it on or should I take it off?
I mean, you look comfy enough.
I do look comfy enough. Matt says I look like I could be a Marvel character or some sort of...
Yeah, like a Disney
character. Maybe from like, what's that one in the snow? Frozen.
Oh, like Anna or Elsa?
Yeah, but I don't think I look like Anna or Elsa. I look more like the man in it. What's the man
Sven.
called? I look more like Sven.
Or the one who goes, yoo-hoo, big summer blowout.
I think I could be Svan. Svanna.
And I've got my...
Oh, and yes, did you like your present?
I love my present. I've got this lovely hot water bottle.
It's a very soft and special hot water bottle.
It's a special hot water bottle. And there is a story behind it.
Come on, tell us a story.
So basically, if you've been listening over the last few episodes, I was talking about how one of my goals in life is to be a more thoughtful gift giver. And so for my own sister, Hannah, I thought she takes a hot water bottle everywhere with her. You will not see her without a hot water bottle.
Would you see her with a hot water bottle on the Spanish coast?
Honestly, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. She just loves them. They're like a comfort for her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like, I'll get her a nice one. So
From where? I think we need to say because it makes it even funnier. I actually know this story.
So it's really, like, it's obviously a nice one. I thought I'll get that and some other, like, cozy bits and, like, make a nice hamper for Christmas.
Yes,
I'll go along that theme. And then on our last day together, which was a week before Christmas, you said, oh, can you give this to Hannah? It's her Christmas present. oh, feel the package, Laura, feel it. What do you think it is? It's a really nice one. And I obviously felt, I was like, oh no, it's a hot water bottle. And basically you get things from the White Company for presents as well,
Yes,
don't you?
yeah.
Like, it's a lovely place to get them from.
Yeah.
So I was like,
FYI, I've never bought myself anything from the White Company, but I think it's nice for gifts.
no, it is really nice for gifts. So then I internally was screaming, thinking, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's a week before Christmas.
And I bet Hannah's bought a White
The
Company.
exact same one. So then I didn't say anything to you because
That was
just
very kind of you.
That's also
That
just
was very
my
kind of you.
personality.
Yeah.
I never speak about things like this
No.
until after.
No.
So I kept it to myself and then got home, told David, panicked, and he said, don't worry, we can sort this out. We'll do something else for Hannah. And so I was like, right, I'll keep this hot water bottle. I can either take it back, but I'll keep it
I'll
for
have
myself.
it for an extra
the one for
So it's
Hannah.
a win-win
A
scenario,
win-win.
actually.
So I was like, this is fine.
Hannah's bought for Hannah what I wanted
Yes.
to. I get to
That's
keep it.
absolutely
I think that's a
fine. I'll
winning
keep
scenario
it. This is
for
a gift
you.
for myself. I'm happy
Yeah.
with that. Anyway.
So what did you get for Hannah?
So in the end, we're going to Harry Potter
Yes,
World,
that's a
which
very
is
good
her
thing.
absolute favourite as well.
She can take a hot water bottle with her.
And mine.
Yeah.
So on Christmas
You can take
Day,
Hallie as well.
and the hat.
Yeah.
So on Christmas Day, I then opened the present from Hannah, you.
Oh yeah, from me to you.
From you to me, and lo and behold,
Within it, there were some other things.
Some other things, but it was the same hot water bottle again
From the White Company. So I bought Hannah a different colour,
Yeah,
like a
she has a
fawny
brown
colour.
one.
Yeah.
This one is like
Beigey white. And I bought that one for you.
Yeah.
Because I thought Laura will want as neutral as possible.
So on that day,
so you ended up with you now had three what?
I had two the exact same and a brown one. So I was screaming like, oh no, what do we do? So now Mum has the third one.
So your mum's the winner.
She's the true winner.
Because that was an extra thing.
Yeah, and
that
she loves
got.
it. She absolutely loves it now.
So it's another sign your mum needs to start working for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you all have the same hot water bottles. If you're listening, Debbie, I would hide. Okay, well, I'm very sorry I stole your Christmas present idea, but I actually
really
think you've done well out of it, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, well, no, I have.
Because Hannah also knows the thought that you gave it.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
you did the thought, got the kudos for the thought.
Yeah, and then Mum got the extra.
And your mum got the extra, and you got one too.
Yeah.
So all winning hot water bottles. Well, I'm sorry, but I do also think that's so... how niche that we all did that.
It's actually
same
insane.
shop, same colour.
I know. It just shows that we all know each other.
We do. So did you compare your hot water bottle to Hannah's?
Well, I was a bit envious of her fawny colour looking one. I didn't want white.
Is this an excellent segue into today's conversation?
This is a segue into today's topic.
Are you envious of Hallie the teddy?
I am actually really envious.
Is it causing you deep
shame?
Wound? What are we going to talk about today, Laura?
Today we're talking about comparison and the feelings that cause comparison. Some of the deeper rooted reasons for maybe envy and that sort of thing. And then how you can deal with comparison in yourself.
Yeah. I think we've transitioned beautifully, naturally to this topic without anybody thinking there was any clunk there whatsoever. I think it was a really obvious thing. Where shall we start? What causes us? Shall we talk about what causes us to compare? Shall we start there?
Yeah.
So let's start with a little bit of like comparison is when we look at something that's going on for someone else or a situation or an image or a life scenario, and we feel a sense of lack and even a sense of envy and jealousy. Because actually, let's be honest, there's a connection to that stronger word in when we're doing it. Sometimes we can compare with people we don't know, but oftentimes we compare with people we do know. So what do you... I mean, loads of things can cause me to compare. Can you think of an example of something that causes you to compare? Like it can be silly or serious. It doesn't really matter.
Well,
I might just take Hallie off because I'm getting a bit warm.
And
I think if people are watching this out of context, they might think, what is this?
Yes.
So let's put her down. She may be in or
bye,
out
Hallie.
of shot. Don't fall. Okay. What causes you to compare? What's the trigger or something?
Yeah.
Think of one.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that the big one that we both have at the moment of comparison is to do with our families.
This is a deeper one.
This is a bit deeper, so I will not stay here.
Mm.
But
No, we don't want to stay deep. Let's be as shallow as we
Shallow
can.
vein,
Shallow
please.
vein.
But basically, we've both lost a parent in the last while, and so it can be really easy to compare other families, other dynamics, and the feelings of jealousy. Now it's just been Christmas, seeing people all together can be really hard.
Yeah.
But actually, that is part of grief, so it's slightly different.
I think it's quite normal to feel like that.
I think it's normal. It's part of it. I just kind of want to say that before I say my next comparison, so people don't think I'm really shallow and vapid.
And if we do, before you say your other example, I think also the family thing can be a cause of comparison in loads and loads of different ways. Comparison that people's families live nearby and other people's families live really far.
Yeah.
I know when my sister moved to Kent, which is 4 hours away, one of my best friend's sisters was moved back, and I felt like a bit of a twinge. Rather than just being happy for her, there was a bit of me that was like, well, great, but my sister's moved away and you get to have what I don't get to have. And I think I've got a friend who says that she's from a small family, and so when she sees large family gatherings, she can feel like I don't get to have that. So there can be all kinds of family comparisons, I reckon. Or life, like I'm not married and want to be married, or I want a baby, I haven't got a baby, or I don't know, all sorts of family. I'm taking it off because I'm getting a bit overwhelmed. As lovely as it is, I'm just going to take it off. So we're talking about one which is about a loss, but actually there are lots of ways we can have that. And I think we need to acknowledge that people do look to other families, especially at festive seasons, and can feel like, well, I don't get to do that, or my family, or it could be that they feel their family is really dysfunctional, and so coming together is actually really hard. Some people will say, oh, I do it for 24 hours max, and other people you're like, oh, it's all very easy, the dynamic's so easy, can't wait to be with them. You don't get to choose all of that.
No.
So I think that's a legitimate type of comparison which can cause quite deep-rooted, painful thoughts.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a whole range. So there's that stuff all the way to...
Please don't judge me for what I'm about to
I
say.
will never judge you, Laura.
But one thing that I've...
The listeners may.
Yeah, please don't.
But I won't. Neither will Hallie.
No, thank you, Hallie. Something I do struggle with a little bit and have done since I was young is comparison of my hair. So for anyone listening and not
has never looked at you.
Has never seen my hair before.
But actually, even if they have looked at you, they wouldn't think this. It's your thing.
It is
go
my
on.
thing. But I have about 5 strands of hair on my head, and I just always have.
Okay, there's more than 5 strands.
There might be more than 5, but it is less than 10. I do not have much hair at all. I really don't. I don't have much hair, and it's thin. And so I've always had this hair since I was a little girl. It's not something
the same 5 strands.
The same, well, no, because they fall out all the time. It's another thing. But I probably have 5 follicles on my head. And it's always been a thing. When I became a teenager, it obviously, as you like,
it's exacerbated at that
point. I used to look at girls in my classes who would sit in front of me and see their silky long hair draping over their shoulders, and it would flap about as they walked. I was like, mine just looks like straw hanging out my head. And it wasn't helped with going to the hairdressers and having nasty comments from hairdressers.
No.
Like, what have you done to your hair?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh gosh. And so it just created this bit of a narrative and comparison of my hair is so rubbish and everyone else is so lovely. It doesn't help that my boss has a mane of hair and is so beautiful. No. Just so much hair, and it's always so beautiful. And
that's not true.
It is really hard to compare and see. And I know as women it can feel like a safety blanket.
Yeah.
But I was saying mine is like a safety string. It's not a blanket at all.
No.
And so I tend to just put it back because I feel like it's less of a distraction for me. It keeps it away from me.
Yeah.
But that is probably a comparison for me, and something I have to I have to come to accept it, and it really is not that big. It's not that
no,
big.
sure,
it's not that deep.
But it could be something that that's a trigger, or that's and I think most people have some sort of physical trigger.
Yeah.
I think most people in the world, let alone just I was going to say the Northern Hemisphere, but I could say the whole world, have got nicer looking hands than me. So I can look at hands and think, oh my goodness, that's just one silly little thing. There's loads of others.
Yeah.
Or it might be people look at their teeth or their body shapes, or who, at my age, it could be who's aging better than somebody else, or who's doing the menopause better than somebody else, or who's I don't know. There's a million things that we could compare to. I think one of the things I've been comparing, I've felt a twinge of like comparison, which leads to jealousy, is sometimes when I hear about other people's time freedom.
Yeah.
It's not always me even just comparing to somebody in a similar life stage. It can be all life stages that I come across and just think, gosh, I wish I had as much freedom of time as you do.
Yeah.
I just sometimes feel like my time gets sucked into a vortex. And I know that if I'm being rational, I know a lot of that's my own doing. I really do know that. And I also know that I have time that other people don't have. I imagine a single parent listening to this podcast episode would be comparing and listening to me talk about time freedom and saying, well, at least you've got another adult in the house. And everybody's situation is different. And yet it seems to be the human condition to do this kind of comparison, whether it's something serious or whether it's a flippant thing like, oh, they've got nicer clothes than me, or they've got a better sense of style than me, or they're funnier than me, or that whatever it is, we compare. So I think sometimes it's fleeting thoughts. Sometimes it's more like deep-seated things that we come back to a lot. I got an email this morning, which was a business email. There's a lot of this going on at the moment. It's called build in public, but people seem to be building in public when they're thriving. And it was a really fair, there's nothing wrong with the email, but it was full of this person's sales figures from the last year, how much profit they'd made, how well they were doing. And it's part of this trend to build your business in public. But it did make me go, oh my gosh, wow, like look at what you've achieved in the last year. And my brain immediately went to, I didn't do that. And I don't know whether that's a me problem, a universal problem, but of both. But that's like a fleet. It's gone now. Like I won't ruminate it on it all day, but it definitely pushed me towards that. In the same way, things like social media could instantly push us to that place of comparison, even if it dies away again. I mean, we could talk about that a little bit, how social media and that whole space adds a whole other dynamic.
Yeah, I think I found a stat that around 90% of women find themselves comparing themselves on social media, 60% of men. And now, obviously, some people might not admit that they compare themselves and come off worse or better.
Or even realise it's happening.
Or realise it's happening and actually are aware of it. But it is massive. It is absolutely massive on social media because you only see the highlight reel a lot of the time of other people's lives, of what people curate and want us to see. But it can be everything, and it's kind of against your will because you're scrolling and then suddenly, oh, someone's bought a house. Oh, someone's doing better than me. Someone's done this. Someone's done that. Ran a marathon and. Yeah, it can be really hard.
Yeah. And I heard someone say actually that if we go back a couple of generations, the pool of comparison was really quite small.
Yeah.
So you'd have obviously some well-known celebrities that in the last, there's been well-known figures for quite a while now. But other than that, you lived in your town and you knew the people of your town. And so the pool of comparison was quite small. And therefore it gave you a chance to maybe feel like there was an area in which you were excelling, at least something. Whereas now when you're comparing yourself with the actual world and then all the most beautiful people, all the most accomplished people, all the most financially secure people and so on and so forth, everywhere, the field of comparison has, for teenagers and us, but for this generation, the field of comparison has just got infinite almost. Whereas I guess even in the era my mum was growing up in, she would have been comparing herself to her friends, and that would be about as far as it would go, or maybe some famous people that she looked up to. But thinking like the equivalents of her all over the world, which actually we have the potential to follow on socials, and you just think, gosh, they've got it together more than me. There's so many metrics of comparison we can be using, which on the flip side, there's a real desire. I don't know what you think about this. There's this whole part of social media which is beautiful and perfectly curated. And you said you like looking at stuff, don't you, on Pinterest, which is really beautiful.
I do like going on Pinterest because you obviously know it's not real and it's like absolutely idealized stuff. But some of it is just so beautiful. I love like putting things into albums for the house
and to reference and come back to
and to think, oh, I really like that, or oh, that outfit's really nice, or that sort of thing, and actually just seeing it as a thing of just beautiful things. But I can only do it when I'm in the right frame of mind, because otherwise you're like, I live in a hovel.
Yeah, you start to
And I
not
wear
see any of
sacks.
the beauty in
Yeah,
your own
yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
so do you like say, right, I'm coming away for a bit?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of check in on myself.
Mm.
I know that sounds so dramatic, but I think it's probably important to even like going on social media just in general to do
Think about your
check-ins with
state of mind
yourself.
when you're doing
Am
it.
I ready to do this right now?
Yeah. Is it if you're having a like, if you're on your own on New Year's Eve, for example, and you decide to go on social media
Yeah.
and look at the whole world celebrating, would that be a good use or moment?
Probably
No,
not.
probably not.
Probably not.
But I think as well as there being like the trend to everything being beautiful,
Yeah.
there's also a bit of a pushback to loads and loads of stuff being increasingly authentic, like um, adverts and all the rest of it. Like I saw one this morning for it was Joe Marler trying to sell some sort of um, energy drink or something. Well, it wasn't energy, it was something else. But it was just him with his phone propped up.
Mm.
And that's a company that's got the budget to do a lot more than
Yeah.
that. And the idea is, let's try and make things look real, authentic inside people's homes. But do you think that's still people being really real?
Probably not.
Like, are people doing real?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. That is it just a curated
Am I
sort
doing
of
real?
oh, it's all coming out today.
I know, but it's like,
Yeah.
even when we're being real, how real are we being?
Mhm.
Like I get that we're trying to be more authentic, but I just think it's this weird thing of having more and more perfection, more and more. It feels like we're in a stage again where there's more and more pressure to use fillers, Botox, to look perfect, have a beautifully perfect home, perfect figure. Use again anything to help you get yourself perfect. And then there's another whole push, which is we're going to be real. We're going to embrace who we are. Body confidence, that movement's been amazing. But it feels like they're just so they feel incongruent to one another. And I don't really know where the real is between any of
No.
this. And what does it really look like for us to be real? And how helpful is social media in giving us any kind of barometer to be comparing ourselves
Yeah.
to? Because none of it is real anyway.
Yeah.
It's all curated to some level or another.
Mhm.
I read an article a while ago about like this sense of curated authenticity where things look really like, oh, I just took this photo off the cuff, but they're not really. They're still got this element of staged authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to remember that when we're engaging with social media, that it is a space where we can build community and it can have reality in it. I don't mean that. I use it and I find things humorous on there. I've learned a lot from it, but it isn't the same as real life with real
No.
people alongside you, supporting you. It just can't take that place. And it can just leave us feeling a sense of lack of some kind or another nearly all the time.
Yeah. And you talk about this in the Purpose Pursuit book.
Oh, what's that? The Purpose Pursuit book.
Out
Yes, I
now.
do. There's a whole section
There's
in
a
the
whole
book about it.
section, and you talk about this guy called Festinger,
Yes.
who created social comparison theory, which is really interesting and just gives a bit of insight into how our
Yeah.
brains work as well. So he talks about how comparison helps us to define who we are, basically.
Yeah.
So when we compare ourselves to others in real life, online, it basically tells us where we are in the world, how we're doing, how
Yeah.
we measure up, and that's kind of how we reference ourselves. And he talks about upward and downward
Yes.
social comparison. So upward is looking at someone that you think is better than you, or has a better house, has
Yeah.
a better whatever.
One notch up.
One notch up and going, oh, I want that. How did they get that?
Apparently, Rockefeller, when he was asked about how much money he's got, he said something like, just not quite enough.
Yeah.
It's a really, I've rephrased that, but he was essentially saying, I need just that little bit more, which is that one notch up. I mean, he
Yeah.
was one of the richest people in the world at the time.
But there's always more, and it's that
Yeah.
sense of
There's
how
always a
can
notch
I-
up from
how
me.
can I get further up? How
Yeah.
come they're there? And then there's downward social comparison, which is the opposite. That can sometimes feel, a little bit nasty, can't
Yeah.
it? Of
Oh, at
looking
least I'm
down
doing
on,
better than
I'm
them.
doing better. Oh, I've got slightly bigger house
Yeah,
than them.
yeah.
Or, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to be doing that
Yeah,
job.
it makes me
or-
feel a bit icky when I do that.
Yeah. And we do all of them. We do both. And actually, there's also a bit of a phenomenon that we mostly compare laterally to people.
Yeah.
So people who we think, well, basically our peers and our friends.
Yes.
Because if I'm comparing myself to like Michelle Obama, that is too unrealistic.
It
That's
is.
like she's a celebrity and a public figure.
Was the president's wife.
And the president's wife. So
yeah.
of course I'm not going to be that. But
No.
it's much easier to compare myself to someone my age.
Yeah.
Because that feels more realistic in my
that's
brain.
right. That's right. And when we are comparing with that reference group, Alain de Botton, who is a social psychologist who wrote about this, he called it the curse of the reference group, that we have a reference group and that reference group will move often. And that reference group is always one notch ahead of where we are. That tends to be how it works. Or they could be just one notch behind as well, that reference group. And then we're just making ourselves feel better again by being one notch ahead. And the problem with either of those things is, and I guess this is the point of what we're trying to get at, the problem in both of those things is it means we are getting our identity from a comparison.
Yeah.
Either because we're doing better a little bit, or we are feeling a lack of identity and security because we're not doing quite as well as somebody else in our reference group. And like you say, those reference groups normally are people that we feel we should be tracking with. It doesn't mean we don't compare to supermodels or actors and actresses when we get confronted with their bodies or whatever. We don't not think, oh, look at theirs compared to mine. But we are more inclined to feel it more deeply with that reference group. And he calls it the curse of the reference group, because we are always going to come up in a ranking for every single measure, for every single person that we do that with, for better, for worse. We're never going to meet someone in exactly the same position. And when I think about that, I just think it helps us take a step back and think this whole thing is destructive.
Yeah.
It's a destructive thing that unless I can turn it and pivot it into something, use it differently, it is going to be destructive for me. I came in the research for today, I came across some artwork that people have done around the concept of envy, which is sort of what a comparison falls into. And all the images are things where the person's behaviour is destructive to themselves. Because actually other people are living their lives quite happy, unaware of your comparison to them. It's like it turns something in on. It was like a snake biting the person, or a person literally almost destroying their own heart. And I think if we can see that the only damage it's doing is to ourselves, it helps us think, how do I put a stop to this? Because whether I'm using it to feel good or whether I'm using it and feeling like I come off lacking, there's a missing component there, which is any kind of like contentment.
Yeah.
And actually, it means I'm insecure and uncertain of myself.
Yeah, there's a lack of something. There's a lack of feeling, content in yourself, happy in yourself, like you've got enough, like you are enough, like you belong, like you're connected to the people around you. And is it when we feel tired, disconnected, a bit like rubbish about yourself, that you are just more likely to compare yourself and probably come off worse a lot of the time.
And I remember reading something ages ago where it said, when you are on literally the top of the Eiffel Tower, that is not a moment you're going to pick out your phone and look at other people's stories, because you're having a highlight moment. So I'm not going to go up to the top of the highlight tower. I'm just going to see what, such and such is doing. That's not when you do it. You do it in the idle, the bored, the looking for distraction, the not highlight moments of your life when you're trying to dull yourself. So therefore, then you're seeing somebody else on the top of the Eiffel Tower because they've just posted their story of that highlight. And so we're comparing apples with pears. We're comparing, the mountaintop bits with other people's valleys. And whether we're doing that or whether it's with the person that lives next door or our friendship group, none of those things help us live effectively. And they remind us that there's something missing. Now, I heard someone talk about using comparison or envy or whatever you want to use as data. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Like, what's the data in this? Like, why has this provoked a response in me? Has it provoked a response in me because there's some work I need to do on myself? Or has it provoked a response in me because it reveals something I want to move towards?
Yeah.
I think those are quite different things. If I feel provoked every time I see people having a little bit more time freedom, maybe it could provoke some action in me to create some time freedom. Because it is within all of our powers to make shifts in our life to some level or another. Or have I looked at somebody who's got, I don't know, a really big home in the countryside, and it's made me feel envious, and that's just left me feeling lacking and insecure of my life and my life choices. That's probably something I need to deal with at its root and think, actually, that is not going to make me happy because of all this, reference group stuff. And it'll be one notch. It's always going to continue to happen. So I think we've got to look at it as data. Like, is this something that's telling me about a shift I need to make in my life, or is it something I need to deal with? And I think they're different things.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. What do you think about that?
No, I think that's really good.
And I think, why are you laughing? So, like, I mean, Matt can decide to leave that in or not. But what I was thinking of is like when someone says, like, if somebody said to you, you know, I've just got, I don't know, let's use a real relevant example.
Yeah.
I've just got a book published. If that creates a bit of a twinge, that could be just a twinge because you're struggling to find joy for other people, or it could be a twinge if that's in me to do.
Yeah.
And you've got to listen to that and think, which of those things is it? And we've got to be realistic. Like if I have a twinge when somebody's just won the athletics competition of the world, or, you know, they've just done the Olympics, I probably need to just pipe down and realise
I can see you doing pole vault though.
Can you? I think so. I mean, I think I've got that core strength in me to be a pole vaulter. There's a thing that it's called freudenfreude. Have you heard of this? Freudenfreude is when we feel a sense of unhappiness at other people's joy. And this is a thing. We have to own it. It is a thing. And freudenfreude is joy in joy.
That's lovely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
When we have joy in other people's. And I think we can make a practice of, if we feel a bit of Schadenfreude, to choose Freudenfreude in that moment and go, do you know what? Oh, it's really good for you. And I'm going to say that with my mouth until I can feel it a little bit more. Yeah. And I think that's really important to do. You can honour and recognise that was hard for whatever reason, but Freudenfreude, that joy in joy, which is much easier to say. We don't have a phrase, it's German. We don't have our own version of Freudenfreude, but it is joy in joy, is a real release from comparison. And I want to be somebody that can do that. Or use it as data to think, I want to move towards something like that. That's something that I want to begin to have in my life, and I'm going to make the steps I can towards it. Yeah. And I think, you know, again, I know you're going to talk a little bit about some practical steps in the book, and you can perhaps talk us through some of that. But for anybody who's got any kind of faith as well, you can also recognise that there's a security and identity that comes outside of anything that who you are and what you accomplish. And actually, even if you don't have faith or belief in higher power, having security in your own accomplishments and all the things that you are is a really insecure foundation, because it's so subjective to circumstance and so subjective to what's happening then. So something that sits outside of yourself, and you know, you've got to answer that question for yourself, but something that sits outside of yourself is the solution to not feeling like I need to do this all of the time. And when I do it, it's because I've brought the solution back into myself, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean just because we've got that we can just suddenly never do this again. There are some things we can do to help us.
Yeah. So one of them that you mention in the book is almost what you've been saying with Freudenfreude. Is that what it is?
Freudenfreude.
Is choosing celebration of people. And it is keyword choosing, because it is really hard to do that if you're feeling a sense of lack in yourself and then it's pranging a nerve somewhere within you of choosing, actually, I'm going to celebrate that person's success. And you also mention in the book of using other people's success as kind of inspiration or evidence
if
for
that
you.
can happen for them, it
that
can happen for
to
me
too.
Yeah.
And that will be really helpful if you're feeling a bit pants about yourself, of going, actually, I can get there one day too, because someone else has done it.
Totally. I think there's something to be said that when we're comparing and we feel a sense of lack, that sometimes, I know this is for me definitely something I've had to work on, and I'm still working on, is there is in me, for some reason, sometimes I believe there isn't enough to go around.
Yeah.
And so if you decide to use it as motivation, that is a recognition that actually there is the opportunity for more than one of us to do this and have this. There isn't a shortage of potential opportunities. If somebody's gone on and got a promotion and you want that promotion, well, there are other promotions out there, not that one, but there are other ones. And I think sometimes it plays into this, there isn't enough to go around. I'm going to get left behind. And that scarcity mindset can really add fuel to the comparison fire. So I think if you've got that, you need to recognise it's there. Some people don't have it, and they really do have this sense of there is enough to go around. But for some of us, for genuine reason and childhood things we've been told or things we believe about ourselves, we don't think there's enough to go around. And so I think that's really worth thinking about. And I think there's one other thing that you read about that I thought was really interesting, which plays into one of the things in the book. It's called O by Tori. That's a Japanese word.
Perfect.
Obaitori.
Yeah, it's a Japanese idiom.
Yes.
And it basically talks about these. It's basically to reflect these 4 different blossom trees that grow in the springtime. I think it's like plum, cherry, peach, apricot.
Yeah.
I didn't realise apricots were a tree, but there we go.
What did you think they were? Animals?
Just like little orange things. I don't know.
Maybe that's a small tree.
Oh, okay.
We can Google up apricot trees later and do a little bit of learning.
But there's 4 different trees. They all spring. They all spring. They all blossom
Yes.
around the springtime in their own time. And actually, it's just a little metaphor just to reflect that all of them are beautiful. All of them are
in
unique,
their own ways,
in their own way, in their own time as well. And none of them detract from each other.
Yeah.
They're beautiful in their own right. And actually, how can we see ourselves in that way as well? Of, oh, someone else has succeeded, my time will come.
Yeah.
Or actually, that's brilliant for them. It doesn't take away anything from
that
me.
doesn't have to be, and that particular thing doesn't have to be for me.
Yeah,
my road will
that
look
can be for
different.
them.
This is really hard at times. It's hard when we're watching it for other people and you're in the trenches. And if you're in that place, I think I just want to encourage you that it is really, really difficult. And I think just some of those practices that Laura mentioned, and setting intentions, reframing what you're hearing and trying to use it as either data for yourself or encouragement that it's possibly out there, and notice the trigger points. I think that's a really important thing. You know, if you have a problem with alcohol, you don't go to the bar. If you have a problem with comparing yourself, you don't do that. You need to step away from the things that really trigger that, or protect when you're going to do that, and think about doing it when you're feeling more robust. And there's one last thing I want to mention. We've got to learn to be more honest with each other about this. We need the kind of friendships where we can talk about it. So I've been really struggling with this. We need people where we can say it out loud without judgment. I don't mean that you go up to the person you're comparing yourself to and go, I'm jealous of you. I'm not sure that's what I'm talking about. That's possibly not helpful. But having a safe friendship where you can say, I've been finding this really hard. Saying stuff out loud, I talk about that quite a bit in the book, really reduces the impact on you. The number of times with my children, with my friends, where we've said things out loud, you can literally feel, and in my work as a coach, when I work with teams and they say something out loud, you can see it just dilutes the impact because, oh, it's off my shoulders. Yeah. And you realise that most of the time people go, same. You know, that there's somebody's just written a book called Same, which is all about this, like, you're saying what I'm feeling. But so much of the time we're doing curated authenticity or fake, and there isn't a place where we're going, I found that really hard. So can I encourage you to find someone that you can develop that kind of friendship with, and you can say to them, you know, I've been struggling with this, and get that help and support that we need from one another. This is a big topic. We'll come back to it. But I hope that what we've said today gives you a little bit of thought around how to look at it a bit differently, and how to separate yourself from the consuming nature of it, and to think, how do I bring some of this empowerment back to myself about the way I look at my own life? See you next time.